it working? The only thing is I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear me. Let's see if anybody's here and can tell me if you can hear me. Aw, hello. Can you guys let me know? Can you hear me? Welcome. I just need someone to let me know. Heidi, can you hear me? Someone can let me know. Thank you so much, Stephen. Okay, let's get started. Whoa. The Knight of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. Unfortunately, the two slowest knights. Divine Masculine having some regrets about how slowly they move. Coming into a deeper awareness of how that's been affecting them. And how it's going to affect their future if they don't make a change. Yikes, the Tower. I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. You know I don't usually work on Friday nights. I cannot get away from this energy. I don't know if it's going to be terrible, but I think it is a little heavy. All right? So just be aware. Oh, yeah, okay. This is the closest thing to what I sensed that led me to realize this reading needed to be done. I thought it could wait till next week. Obviously not. I don't think this is necessarily saying something's going to happen. I think it's saying this is what they've been experiencing because of how slowly they are to move, to think, to act, to respond. They're experiencing so much chaos and upheaval in their lives because they refuse to make a move. They keep letting life decide for them. And Nine of Swords. So the two slowest knights, the Tower and the Nine of Swords. You can't make this up, you guys. The Nine of Swords speaks to the Divine Masculine's unwillingness to create the life that they desire, to create the life that they dream of, but also there is this deep pain in them. There is this longing from when they were young. You know, something's coming through here for those Divine Masculines that have childhood trauma. I think their unwillingness to do healing work, make efforts, or even just admit it. They can't. They're not just slow in love, they're slow in everything that they do. And it's affecting their ability to even pursue their dreams properly, let alone be in love. What time is it where you are, you guys? I'm so sorry. I know this is very late. All right, what do we have? Desperate for a fresh start, desperate for freedom, desperate to return to their true self, to take a leap that changes everything. But in truth, they've done this before. They've taken leaps, and I don't know if it's because it wasn't off the right cliff, you know, like was it really the right thing they were pursuing, or if it's because they did it half-heartedly or haphazardly, or I don't know why it didn't work before. Sometimes they do, again, that Nine of Swords is self-fulfilling prophecy. Sometimes they do create their own reality. Sometimes there are Divine Masculines where they really can't catch a break. And I've seen it all. They want that feeling that comes with knowing that they can trust the universe. Whatever we might call it, God, source, spirit, the universe. They want to feel like life has their back, but they never have. They don't believe that. What are we missing? What have we not thought to ask? Oof. justice. What clouds their ability to exist in the light is the fact that it always seems like justice is coming in to teach them a lesson, to show them where they went wrong, to make them pay for their inability to communicate, for their refusal to learn how, to show them the hard way because they refuse to take the easy paths that are even offered to them. This energy's rough, you guys. I'm gonna get some cards on the table. Okay, not those. Woo! Not those. Those are all flipped. Let's see what we have so far. All right. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We are speaking of the divine masculine's ego. Here we have 15. Here we see the wand, the crutch, broken into, the wand broken into to be used as a crutch. The divine masculine lacks inspiration because every time divine offers it to them, they step into a victim mentality, a place of pity. They refuse to change. They refuse to grow their, what is this? Their tree of life? Wow. They don't pay enough attention to us to understand what we can truly bring to their life. There is a deep self-centeredness in the divine masculine collective. It's kind of gross, to be honest. It's one of the least attractive things about them in real life. It's one of the things that can make it sometimes hard to love them. And it's easy to start to question, even if they're not even like the really dark or even borderline evil kind of questionable DMs. It doesn't matter. That need to make everything about them, it can just make us go, I don't understand where I fit into your life. What would even be acceptable to you from me? Okay. Interesting little cards to kind of flip out here. Just put these off to the side. Okay. First things first. As we look into this year that has been quite destructive to the divine masculines, I'm curious about the connection. Underneath the silence, beneath the avoidance, how do they actually feel about the divine feminine right now? How do they feel about you? Ugh. This is interesting because it's a little bit of, it's funny that I just say I sense the ego straight off the bat. 15, yeah? And then we pull 10, the ego death. This card that says, I feel betrayed. And it's like, well, by who? Who do you feel betrayed by? Well, I feel betrayed by my feminine, by my person, but I also feel betrayed by myself. And I think it's quite interesting that when they think of you, they immediately feel this sense of deep pain. I mean, perhaps even like agony, existential agony. It's disappointing because it would be so nice if there was something lovely. But I think that self-centeredness is what leads them to often point a finger at us and to blame us for making them feel bad, when really it's like anything that makes you uncomfortable makes you feel bad. You avoid so much of your own truth that anything anyone says to you makes you feel like they don't love you. trauma issue. That's a issue of healing. That is not an us problem, divine feminines. But I think that this year, the pain that it has caused them has made them feel like the world is against them, and now we are too. You know, I have quite a few divine feminine clients who have gotten into union, pseudo union, reconciliation, even just renewed contact with their person. And what I am noticing is that none of these divine masculines have done the work that matters for the relationship. There might be other stuff they've been trying to figure out. There might be other things that they were willing to heal about, but not when it comes to the baggage they carry and the interpersonal stuff. And it's really disappointing because this was one of the roughest years for the divine masculine collective in a very long time. I think since 2020. And what this says is, in this pain, they've turned around and looked at you and said, you know, if you had never come along, I could have just been living how I always lived, and I never would have felt any of this stuff. I could be comfortable. I could be happy. I could be living my old life. But then you came along and you made me feel all these things. And you made me think about myself and how I treat people. And, you know, it's a little, ugh, right? But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Like, of course you feel that way. All right. Why did they pull away or shut down instead of fighting for the connection? I understand that we can make them feel this way. I get where they're coming from. Many of us, even with our flaws and the mistakes we make and all that, when we find our person, we're about that life. We are so ready to do it right, to be the best version of ourselves we can be, especially knowing that we've been blessed with this divine partner. Like, we get really serious. And for them, it's extremely triggering. I get that. But once they felt that, why didn't they pursue it more? Knowing what it could be. Why didn't they have that same reaction that we did? The first thing I hear is they're not healthy. And so that speaks back to the healing issue. But for the lovers to show up here says, I think that for them, they have a bit of a skewed view of this whole dynamic. I'm hearing that there are a lot of issues where outside forces are concerned, where they look at feminine energy in general as very almost like low vibe, which is interesting. It's a little ironic. And I noticed right away we have what? 15, 16. We saw the tower. 15, 16 to start us off. I think that this really speaks to the divine masculine's personal issues that they refuse to work through, and how much other people influence everything they say and do, and how they don't really like that. But they don't know any other way. So they just continue on with it, and it makes them feel worse and worse and worse. The Ten of Swords is supposed to be about an ego death. The Lovers is supposed to be about this powerful healing connection, the journey forward. But it's almost like they have it all backwards. And they look at the divine feminine and they question, how is it possible that you're so certain about us, about me, about this journey? My world is failing. My world is on fire. How is it that you think you know? I will tell you, there is another side to this. And I think that they may go back and forth between this energy if they allow themselves to feel the softness of this connection. They pull away because they know they're not ready to follow divine. Some of this isn't even about you. It's about them knowing they ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like they know that they're not able to be the person that stands by your side because everything in them wants to pursue the negative, wants to pursue darkness, wants to pursue chaos. This could be speaking to why this year was such a tough year for them because they had been warned over and over and over again. You need to make good choices. That's what this is about. They can't be with you if they can't make good choices. For some, it's because they know they're going to hurt you. For others, it's because it's a lot of pressure. Why do I have to behave kind of energy? And it's like, are you serious? We're grown. What is going on here? Do they regret it? Do they regret what they did? Do they realize the pain that they've caused? Ace of Cups. As much as I would love to think, oh, this is such a positive card, you know, oh, we got the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands. In this position, it kind of feels like the reason that they don't is because they kind of take your love for granted in a way. They feel like there's always more where that came from. You've forgiven them so many times. You're so open and loving with them. It's really hard for them to feel like they can even do wrong where you're concerned. And this could be tied to that self-centered nature they have. This could be tied to them trusting and believing that there's always a chance for a new beginning. And this is the hard thing about these divine masculines is, again, it depends on the reasoning, but quite a few of them actually believe you're going to all end up together, but that's the same as them believing that they're finally going to get rich and famous one day, right? It's like one day, once everything falls in order. And it's like, if you just keep letting the years pass by, one day is not going to happen. What are you talking about? And so this is an interesting energy. Do they regret it? I don't know if they even know or are willing to give themselves the time to process just how wrong they've been, which means in that case they would not be able to acknowledge that because they don't think it's there. But I think the other ones that know that maybe I don't know about the regret part, but at the very least, if they know they've done something to you, I think that there's a chance that they've convinced themselves, oh, I'll just make it up to you one day, so it's no big deal. It's like they have to shove down anything that feels like I'm in trouble, which it just keeps pointing me back to like the childhood nature of somebody, like the child that they were. They still think like them when they're under pressure. Okay. Are they aware? I mean, this is actually pretty deep energy. Are they aware that this is deep? Are they just running from it and they can't even see it for what it is? Or can they sense there is something spiritual? Can they sense the energy even if they can't quite define it? Okay. The Seven of Cups says they have not yet taken the time to actually reflect on it and how it connects to other things in their life where maybe there was a divine reason behind things. They have, I mean, this is crazy, but they have procrastinated on taking the time to process the connection properly. They think that one day they'll get to it. And you're the first thing on their mind when they do. When it's time to really sit down and figure life out, probably should figure out the thing I think about all the time. Okay, great. But when are you going to do that? And I think for them, there's so much that they have not processed. There's so many paths that they've skipped and missed. And there's so many things that they have not done, that I think there's a part of them that they've put it on the back burner like with everything else, but also I think there's a little bit of fear, which tells me they do sense the energy a little bit, right? Why would you be afraid of it if it's so big? But it's like, well, if I can't define it, if I can't hold it, I can't control it. Man. Is there someone else? Is there something else? Is there, whether it's a person or I guess anything? Four of Pentacles. It's interesting because it gives me the feeling that whatever it is that there is something. But it's not really about the person or the thing, it's about what they get out of it, which again brings up this kind of selfish nature of their approach in life. So if it is a person, maybe there's a financial reason for it, which is very common in our collective, unfortunately. I'm not even saying like the DMs are all gold diggers or something. Sometimes it's their own money that they don't want to lose if they get divorced or something. And if it's a job or anything else that they think is going to lead them to some financial high that they're trying to achieve, I think that they use that as a distraction from the way they feel because it allows them to avoid having to process it at all. I'm curious, what does that relationship or that thing really mean to them? See, this is what I'm saying. It's not legitimate. The Four of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, these are cards about being stuck, being trapped. And when you put them together, that's 12. That's the Hanged Man. It's not genuine. Whatever they are using as the distraction, whatever they use to avoid the relationship with you, or even if it's some sort of karmic connection or whatever it is, it's not real to them. It's a means to an end. Ay. What are they so afraid of? Especially when it comes to the divine feminine. Like, what are they really afraid of? And what is this year exposed in them? Ooh, now, I have been speaking about this for a little while. The fear of failure is one thing, friends, but the fear of success, that's something that many of us have failed to make the connection on where our person is concerned. Because they act like they want it so badly, you know? That there's this thing that they're so diligently pursuing, and if they could just get there and get that, then everything will be different, everything will be fine. And then, you know, maybe years pass by and they're not even a couple steps forward. In fact, they're more likely steps back. And we're like, what are you doing? Or there's always some new thing that they've added on, and it's like, I mean, when does it end? When does it stop? When it comes to you, they're afraid that, oof, I just heard I have to settle. And it's interesting because it's not about you, it's about life. This came up recently too. Oh, I did the exclusives for the year. And in one of the exclusives, it talked about the divine masculine, or no, the divine feminine kind of having this belief like, I would live in a box if I could be with my person. Not every divine feminine feels that way, but many do. Many say, love is what really matters to me. And as long as I'm happy there, I don't really think I would care about anything else. And I think the message that came through was like, well, that's why you're not allowed to have your person yet, because you're not meant to live in a box. I'm not saying you're supposed to have a castle, but it's not supposed to be a box either. And your divine masculine truly connects with the idea of the castle more than the box. For them, it's like, I don't care if I'm in love as long as I have something. And before we condemn them, we must remember we are the 5D, they are the 3D. That is the balance we bring to our connection. At the same time, I think that their desires are still very much caught up in a lower vibration of the 3D. I think that what they're afraid of is that wherever you are in life right now, which is probably further along than them, like 90% of you, that's it. If they were to get together right now, that's it. And you know what? I don't know if that's so bad. Is it? But for them, I don't think it would be about you. And maybe that's what they're afraid of is they know, they know they would be so caught up in loving you and fulfilling their promises and making up for all the things that they did wrong, that they would not pursue their dreams as diligently as they think they have been, even though they haven't even been doing that. Let's just be real. They equate starting a life with you to their life ending, which again comes back to the whole society thing and maybe the people that they're around. Or I just talked to 2 people this week that had divine masculines who were either like red pilled or super macho pride. I won't get into that one, but something is happening in our world and we're becoming more and more divided. We can see it. It's obvious. It's been happening since before 2020. But something is happening to the masculines of the world. They're more determined. They're less focused. They're more prideful, but with a lot less to even be prideful about. And what they're afraid of with us is that they're going to embarrass themselves to everyone who doesn't even matter. They're more worried about proving something to someone because they have a chip on their shoulder than they are about even thinking straight about their divine feminine. I've got quite a few divine feminines over the years who have big dreams and big goals and who are very focused and they want to start businesses or they want to give back. Or I don't think these divine masculines really give us credit because when we're with them, a lot of times we just want to talk about like love or even hell. We just want to sit in silence and just be together. And so they think that that's all we're about. And in some cases, maybe that is true and that's okay. But so many of these divine masculines just have it wrong. It's because they don't see us as valuable partners, not the other way around. We're down. We're down to figure it out if we don't even know how. And a lot of us actually know how to do stuff, but they don't want our help. Pride, pride, pride. It's so interesting. The very first question was what? Something about us, right? How they feel about us or something. And ego death comes in. Before we can do anything, these 2 cards just flipped out of the if you rewind, you could see they just flipped out like out of nowhere. Ego. This year, the reason that their life was destroyed, the reason why they feel like the world fell apart, is because it was all a house of cards propped up by their ego. Everything, all of it. Even down to how they process their feelings and emotions towards you. All right, let's move on. Are they healing or changing at all? I mean, really? Is anything getting better? The 6 of Swords, this is what frustrates me about them. This is something that I think it's so hard for all of us to believe, and with good reason, okay? They really do think that we're just going to be together one day. They just think we're going to be together. It's just in their head that it's just going to happen. And I guess, I don't know, some of them think they can just go sow their royal oats, or some of them think that they can just build their life first. Some of them think, I don't even know. I think that this is, okay. Okay. Something that I've even noticed in Mr. Lightwork, and it's still present even many, many years together: time blindness. Now, this is something that you would associate with ADHD, but remember, to have a mental health diagnosis, there's like a list of stuff, right? And so if you only have half and you were supposed to have 75%, then you can't be diagnosed with it, right? So maybe you don't have ADHD, but you could still be time blind. How many of you know what time blindness is? How many of you deal with it yourself? Time blindness is this issue of not realizing how much time something takes or how much time has passed. And I think a lot of divine masculines have issues with this. And I think that there is a problem with that because they do this thing where maybe it's their ego combined with it that makes it worse. They do this thing where they say, one day, I know we'll be together. I'll be able to make it up to you one day, one day. And it's been like years. When? And do you not realize that we're just sitting with that pain? Now, again, some people's time blindness is just like, wait, how long have I been standing here? They can happen when you're scrolling on your phone and then an hour passed by and you're like, oh my goodness, why are my legs numb? You know, so it's not always about disappointing someone or something. But I think that if you have a capacity to do that elsewhere, it's definitely going to show up in your interpersonal relationships, especially where there's some distance in between. I do think that there is healing, but I still think that they're repeating the same patterns. I feel like they haven't grown up, you guys. Oh, I said an example the other day. Somebody, I can't remember what it was, but I remember the example was like, if someone broke a bone and that they were told to leave their cast on for a certain amount of time and then put a brace on and start doing physical therapy. And the prescription for healing was a certain amount of time, a certain amount of time, and a certain amount of therapy. And they did, the cast was fine, but maybe they didn't always wear their brace. And they kind of skipped physical therapy sometimes, especially the stuff they didn't have to do when they went in, right? Like the stuff they were supposed to do at home, they just didn't do it. Is that really healed? Or is that bone going to have some issues for the rest of their life? Exactly. So to say they're not healing isn't true. The body heals naturally. The spirit, the mind, all of these things are wonderful in the fact that they can at least heal on a base level. And there's also, I think, a slight willingness, like the fact that someone's willing to wear the brace at all, willing to go to the, what is it called? What is it? I don't know, physical therapy. They're willing to go do that. That's something, right? But if you don't do it right, and they've told you it's going to affect you for the rest of your life, that speaks to a wealth of other problems, I think, okay? And that's what I see here. I see someone who is so desperate just to get to where they're going that they're not willing to do it the correct way. Normally, I don't hate to see the swords on the boat, but there's something about this positioning that feels like this shouldn't be here. It's like I'm looking at all these. None of this should be like this. Oh, the broken bone, and the crutch. It's like whose inner child is that? Is that your inner child? I wonder if that's the healing that needs to be happening too. Are they healing their inner child? Huh. Let me see. Let's pull. Nope. Look. It's funny because their inner child has more of a willingness to see things for what they are than they do. But because they haven't tried to integrate it, it's almost like that healing doesn't really count for them. And I think that's what 2026 is going to bring. Their inner child is going to come knocking, my friends. Oh, that's from the beginning. I sensed the youth, the childishness, the trauma, the trauma. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. This is really stressful because in repeating the same patterns the way that they have been, 2026 is going to knock them off their rocker if they don't get it together. 2025 already took them out. How much more do you need? How much more does life have to, to get you to. Do they miss it? I mean, do they think about you the way you think about them? Yeah, they do. Just thinking about you makes them happy. It's funny because the way they feel about you, in their feelings, they feel bad because they know they're wrong. But I think they think about you all the time. And I think that this is really tied to the thoughts they have of one day, one day, one day. Oh, it'll be soon. It'll be soon. We'll be together. It's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait for us to be together. It's going to be so cool. I'm going to be loved. It's going to be amazing. I just have to do all this stuff to prove my love and to be enough because I'm really not enough for my divine feminine. Who told them that? Not us. You know what's really sad is how many divine masculines will come back later after they've gotten into union. I get emails like this all the time from my clients who've gotten into union over the years. And they'll be like, because it's usually I'll have said something in a reading that I don't remember. I did the reading like 6 years ago. And then they'll email me like 3 years later and be like, hey, do you remember when you said this in a reading? Well, I just had a conversation with my person and they told me verbatim exactly that. Here's what it was talking about. Do you know how many of these divine masculines have these specific thoughts, but also have these really weird, skewed perspectives of like us saying something one time or even in a fight? Or maybe we didn't even say it at all and they just took it the wrong way and they run with it. And their whole existence is based on this thing, which again, seems like a bit of a trauma response. Oh, you said this to me. That's not what I meant. Oh, well, my mom used to say that. What does that got to do with me? This is a scary thing to know that they think about us, but they say nothing. And when they do, they usually say the wrong things. It just makes me kind of sad. So will they reach out? After everything that's happened this year? And if they are, why won't they just do it now? That's very cowardly. It's so interesting because I looked at this, pointed to the water here. There's this river. On the river, there's the water. Now what? I think that they are more aware of how much work you do to keep the relationship together than they like to admit, than they're willing to admit to you. They see you going above and beyond. They see you holding it all together. They know that you are the reason why tomorrow is still possible for you guys together. They know that they really don't have anything to do with it. The one way they do is that they're the one holding it up. Will they reach out? I think they want to reach out all the time, but they've told themselves one day. This is the problem. This is the thing that you have to understand about the situation you're in. This is not a you thing. The way that they engage with you is how they behave in life. And we have this tendency to put this expectation on them that now that they've felt what we feel and they've sensed what we sense and all this different stuff, why would they not want to just dive in like we would? Because they're selfish. They're scared. They're unhealed. In many cases, they're still quite broken because they didn't listen to the doctor's orders. Yeah. To say, will they reach out? Here's the weird part. A lot of you are in contact or have heard from them. And if you haven't, you know why. Sometimes I talk to divine feminines who have had no contact and they straight up told their person not to ever call them again. And they're like, but they know I didn't mean it, right? And it's like, I think even if they knew that, the trauma tells them, oh, I can never do it again. What's stopping them from doing it now, I think, is a little separate. I think they know they're not willing to do the work that's required to take you guys out of the heaviness. Now, if you would just accept them and not require anything of them and pretend everything's fine and let them go in and out, and if you would let them do that, which is to me is borderline abusive, to toy with someone who you know has such a deep feeling, I think that even the ones who want to protect you a little bit would still let you do that. In fact, some of you that are in contact, that's what you deal with. The person who you have to tiptoe and walk around on eggshells, not because they're going to be mean or something, but because you know you can scare them off like that. They're skittish. They know that you have so much to say, so much that you would like to talk to them about. Like, they know this, but they also know they don't have answers. That's shame, timing issues, pride as usual. But I think it's also fear of rejection. That if I come in and I tell you, I just want an intimate connection with you, that's all I can really offer right now, they know that you, at the very least, you should say no to that. If you do your thing, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? You got to protect your feelings and emotions the best you can. But if that's what you want, go ahead. But they know that you should not say yes to that. Especially the longer you've been together, the deeper it's become for you guys. Because there's so much feeling. It's not right. This is the really hard part about analyzing, all the different people who might watch this. We might have 1,000 people who watch this reading over time. Maybe your DM really does want to protect you because they know they'll just use you because they're a user right now. They don't know how to just give and love. But maybe there's DMs out there who are trying to protect you because they wouldn't want to look back when you are together and think about what they did to you. How they were in and out or how they strung you along. There's so many different reasons why they avoid hurting us. And sometimes we think it must mean like, if it's a bad thing, then that must mean they're bad and we're not going to get into union. But I've seen it all different ways. I think it's really hard to actually judge a divine masculine from their actions outside of union. Because again, so much of it has very little to do with you as a person and even very little to do with the connection. It's about bad habits. It's about ego. All the stuff that gets repeated. It's why I don't do readings like that anymore. What's the point? It just feels like it's the same stuff. But that's because it is. Love letters feel like it's the same thing, but that's because it is. They are in a loop, my friends. They're stuck. It is the same. And it's really hard to judge what divine masculines are doing what and why and if that means anything, because I don't think there's actually an equation for that. So are we just holding on to something that's not even possible? Are we holding on to something that will never materialize, or is union possible? Especially with this person. This is interesting because the Nine of Pentacles can speak to being alone, but it also speaks to the abundance that the divine feminine creates while the divine masculine gets their shit together. And it takes me back to that very first card, the Knight of Pentacles. And what I've explained is oftentimes the divine masculine thinks they've got to go out and get the 10 of Pentacles on their own. And they can't ever really quite get there. In fact, most of the stuff that they end up doing or building fails. They could even get to like the 7 of Pentacles and realize, wow, only one of these is even viable. I got to start over. And it always gets like that. Matter of fact, isn't that right here? Yep. It always gets to that. It's always just one. And that's because we as the divine feminine, we are the true abundance. We are the divine spark. We are the real healing. We are the true love. We are everything that they've been missing. And it is so painful to know that inside of us and to be rejected by them, only to have them turn around and feel rejected by us. You guys seen the memes where it's like, did I just talk about this the other day? Where it's like the person is hurt that you're hurt, so now they hurt you, but you're comforting them. And it's like, what is this? We are the ones who should feel, well, we shouldn't feel sad, but we could feel down and sad and disappointed, knowing that all the things they say they are waiting to get before we get together, we could have helped them get a long time ago. But they're so prideful, they don't want to associate their success with us, because that would be embarrassing to all the people they're trying to prove something to with that chip on their shoulder. It's ridiculous, you guys. At the same time, I think what this says is the path to union has always been described as this detachment and focus on yourself and all this different stuff, right? But maybe this is why. Maybe it's because it's known that even if it's not struggle love, right? Because sometimes it's so toxic the way things are presented that it's like, that's not everybody's situation. I have clients all over the world, thousands of people all over the world. I promise you, maybe a third or less have had that kind of toxic struggle love. But at least a third have very much, to me, would be like a normal relationship dynamic. It's not toxic, it's just complicated. And I think that whether it's toxic or whether it's complicated, the advice is kind of the same. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel peaceful and loving and simple like it might be in the movies, which also that's not true, because let's just be real, it would be a very boring movie. It would be a very boring movie, guys. This is not the Hallmark Channel, okay? In fact, across from me is a bookshelf full of Joanna Lindsay novels. I grew up on her. And do you know what I realized reading romance? That the most interesting love stories are the ones where there's a a full-on misunderstanding, sometimes until the last few chapters. But the beauty is that they get together, right? These divine masculines make it very challenging for us to trust being on our own, especially those who have hurt us so bad that it's almost like, you know what? Once I get comfortable, I can do battle by myself. I'm good. It's very, very challenging to sit in this Nine of Pentacles energies as a divine feminine, especially if you are abundant, especially if you know you truly do have everything they need. Not even like we could get it together or we could figure it out, but like I already got it. Oof, oof. Again, I don't know your exact situation. How many people are watching? I can't see the number. Like 60 people? Oh, it says there's only 3 likes. Like the videos, guys. I forgot to ask. But everybody's going to have a different story. But I think that the advice holds true here. And it's not just like detach because they don't deserve your time or energy. I know that's an opinion, right? Detach because it's terrible, so you need to stay away. That's not true for everybody. Detach because. I think that the truth is you need to be going out and getting what you know they're not capable of getting without healing. Perhaps for you, that is a lot of healing. Okay. Letting everything they trigger you on by acting like this help you deal with the stuff so that you can be a good model for what actually needs to be healed, right? But I think the other side of it is they have 1 pentacle when they show up. Sometimes when we've met them, they had 0 pentacles. But let's be real, most of them had 1 pentacle when we met them, and then they have 1 pentacle when we get together. That is pretty much true across everybody I've seen get into union. I don't think there's a single divine feminine that I've ever worked with that got into union whose divine masculine actually made it to where they were trying to go by the time they got together. I hypothesize that it's because they're not allowed to have it without us. But if it's not that, I haven't heard from every person that gets to union, so I don't know, right? But still, I can't help but wonder if that's how the 10 of Pentacles is truly made. It seems to be true, at least for our collective. And I think it might be true for all twin flames. Let's check the energy. Oofa boofa. The divine masculine knows they don't belong on the path they're on. They know they've put you on the back burner. They know that they are distracted by the heaviness of pretending everything's fine and the heartbreak because of their refusal to heal. They know all of this. And I think that's how this year got to them. Wasn't this year a 7 year? 25? Yeah. Don't some people add the 20, 25, and then some people just do the 25? So you can call it a 9 or a 7. And I think either way, that sucks for them. Knowing you're on the wrong path or knowing you're right there. You're so close. What are we missing in this message? What don't we understand about their feelings for us? Ugh. The Emperor shows up here to tell us the hard truth. Not only do they know all this stuff about themselves and about us, especially after everything they went through this year, I think they've known, even if they can't quite put their finger on it all and connect the dots perfectly, they know that the way you make them feel, there's nothing like it. They know that the way you have inspired them to be better, even though it triggers them because they keep failing, no one's ever done it before. They've had these moments in their past where people got kind of close to certain things and then you came and surpassed all of that. They can see it and they can see themselves more clearly because of it. But what I will say to you is if you've been avoiding a mirror your whole life and the first time somebody shows you, you've got dirt all over your face. You ever got home after a long day and you know you haven't looked in the mirror since this morning and you had a spinach smoothie in the morning and you get home and your teeth got green stuff all up in them, not just one little speck, just all, and you think, I was really smiling today. That's how they feel. They feel exposed because of you. Which again, that's a personal problem. Maybe if they'd come to your house, you would have told them to go brush their dang teeth. But you know what? That's another story. I want to pull a couple cards and get a little bit of a love letter here. Again, I don't know if it's going to be positive, so please don't get... I don't think I shared this. I was supposed to do this earlier and I actually forgot. Is it going to go? Jeez, Grace. You guys ever do stuff and set it all up and then forget to do stuff? Oops. Let me pull... All right. Whoa. Okay. Divine Masculine. I want a life with you. I always have. You know how to take away my burdens. You give me hope for the future. Peace in the now. Your power. Your grace. Your certainty. The way you feel about me. Sometimes I feel shame. I feel like I have so much to learn from you. But I thought I was supposed to be the teacher. And you get better every day. You move so quickly. How am I ever going to catch up? I can't even think straight. I have to focus so much on the moment. And my position in life feels precarious. Like if I make one false move, it'll all crumble. The way you move, it's like you could have your eyes closed and it wouldn't even matter. I could be staring right at it, still trip and fall. I never hated to be so embarrassed. I used to be able to laugh it off, but something about you makes me crave perfection. Can you blame me? You're not just fine, you're divine. There is a richness in your life. I feel like I have to do more to go beyond everything you are. But I struggle to find the confidence. You're so cool to me. And I thought that's what I wanted in a partner. But I guess I wanted equal or less than or just cool to me, but not cooler than me, not better than me, not beyond me. No matter how you look at it. I feel so inferior to you. Like I'll never measure up. And that's a vulnerable place for me to be. And the more life deals me a bad hand, it's like every card I get, it hits so hard. I don't want to be this person. I want to be someone different. But no matter how hard I try, I always end up being myself. Overwhelmed, foolish, confused. No one's supposed to see me that way. No one's supposed to know that about me. But I can't hide it from you. And for you, of all people, to see me like this, it just destroys me every time. Who am I? What do I really have to offer? I don't see greatness when I look in the mirror. I see a failure. Failure to launch. Like I'm just never going to be enough. And if you were to settle for me and realize that one day, you'd have every right to walk away from me. I mean, I spent so much time trying to convince you that I'm somebody I'm not. Why would you stay with a liar? A coward? I have nothing to offer. What little I could bring is just not enough. But now that I've known you, I don't know what to do. No matter how hard I try to be strong, courageous, no matter how often I'm able to do my best, I just can't. But I can't live without you. The truth is, sometimes I wish I had never met you. I can't handle all these feelings. I can't think. I just wish that it wasn't like this. I wish I had it all figured out. How is this not just more of the same? Another punishment for not being enough, for missing the mark. I can't tell if it's just, you're just the most special person I've ever known. And you light up my life. I mean, it's obvious who wouldn't want to be with you. Only a fool would be able to ignore everything you are. But I'm no king. I don't even really know who I am. And I have this tendency to associate myself with power. Is that all this is? My desperation to be noticed, to be more, to be someone. And if I always hide the truth of who I am, how do I know that you could ever really love me? If I was really the person that I promised you that I am, I could see why you see me as this perfect partner. Because that person is worthy of you. And if I could really step into those shoes, I could be worthy of you too. but nothing's working. And if I choose to show you who I really am, if I let you in on my pain, if you saw just how lowly my life really is, I don't know if I could handle your pity. I can barely handle your confusion, your questions. I don't know if I could handle your truth. I know it's what I deserve. I should have told you a long time ago who I really am, what I'm really all about. But I wanted you to be proud of me. I love how I feel when I know that you're proud of me. I wanted you to see me for the version of myself that I dreamed of. Because I thought maybe if you believed in me, that I could just become that me. But the future feels farther away than it ever has. And everything in me knows it's time to get real. But unfortunately, that has not changed how I feel about you. I'm screwed. I'm in serious trouble. I think about being stuck between a rock and a hard place and wondering if I'd be willing to cut myself out of the situation. And I realize that I have a really bad habit of waiting until I'm too weak, too scared, too tired, and out of options before I finally make a move. And I'm doing it again. I'm promising myself that that can't be it, and that everything's going to be all right. And I still have time. All the while feeling this deep fear. Believing with everything I am that I am such a liar that I would lie to myself. I know there is a way out. I know there's a way through. But I think I've wasted so much time that I don't even know where to begin. There's so many different things that I could and should be doing. So many different things that I know I need to offer you. But I'm worried you don't even need it from me anymore. You figured it out. And I don't know how time has changed how you feel about me.